Rock and roll was a lifelong dream, but it had to end. And as the lights went down on my career, I decided to follow my heart and set out on a journey to explore different cultures and ways of living. Down there, a new world opened itself up to me. A world of new faces, places, and foods. Around every corner, a new experience. My name is Nick Payne. I am a culinary archaeologist, traveling alone on a lifelong journey to preserve the world's ancient recipes. I discovered that many customs, including foods used by the natives, were disappearing every day. Saving these for future generations became my mission, and now I bring you some of the world's most exotic culinary traditions.
Thank you for calling the Department of State's Office of Overseas Citizen Services. On August 23rd, the U.S. Embassy in Lima issued the following notice to American citizens in Peru. It is essential for visitors to remote tribal areas to obtain permission to visit from the Tribal Council and not to visit villages without advance permission. 2 U.S. citizens who did not have such permission were attacked. 1 killed and 1 severely wounded in the Marañón River between Amaza and Santa Maria de Neiva.
I've been on this boat now for approximately 4.5 hours. We just crossed from the Colombian border into Peru, and this is the Peruvian Amazon, the most dangerous part of the Amazon anywhere in this area. I heard about 2.5 weeks ago, 2 people were murdered, actually cut into small pieces and thrown into the river as fish food. They were from Japan, and they were in their 20s because they took a canoe through here and they had no permission to be here, and they got into some trouble and they became fish food. I have permission, and I don't plan to be fish food, and I plan to show you the special and most mysterious things about this Peruvian Amazon. One of the greatest things about being in the Amazon is the sound of the birds, the sound of nature. There isn't a car or motorcycle or airplane for miles, hundreds if not thousands of miles around. It's something that sets your heart at peace. So I'll let you listen to the birds and let you experience nature as I experience it here in the Amazon.
After a 3-month expedition, I was on my way back to Iquitos to leave the Amazon and return home. This would be my last chance for many months to study the region, and I eagerly soaked up every opportunity to stop and explore.
Behind me is one of many villages we're going to be visiting today on today's show here in the jungles of Peru. It's a small village of probably about 50 people. We're going to see some of the textiles and some of the foods that they prepare in this village. So follow me into the village and we'll talk to a few of the local natives and find out what they're doing in this small village here in the Amazon jungle.
I was told by the locals that this was a new village of immigrant Indians from another part of the Brazilian Amazon. For many of the children, a white person is still a curiosity. The tribe had moved here after being forced from their lands and now subsisted by trading exotic fruits collected from the jungle.
Mucho gusto.
No. You don't speak Spanish.
No?
This culinary device is called an anaconda. It squeezes the toxic juices out of the yucca root the Indians use to make jungle bread. After being dried and sifted, the yucca is made into a tough rock-like bread called manioc. It is a necessary survival food for long hunting trips and expeditions of war. Another food that is part of the Indian culture is coca leaves. They are used as a mild stimulant, and its effect is similar to coffee. After collecting the leaves from the jungle, they are dried over a low fire. It will take him 4 hours to toss and turn the leaves until they are done. Once dried, they are pounded into a coarse powder. Ashes from the large leaf of the Cecropia tree are added and mixed by hand. The lime in the ash will help release the alkaloids when chewed.
This is ampiri. This is a mixture of a root and a form of tobacco. And when you put this on your tongue, it actually makes your saliva come out a lot more so that you can use the coca. The bola de coca. The coca ball that you have in your mouth, this forces your mouth to produce massive amounts of saliva. And this is impiri.
Don't confuse this native ritual with cocaine, an invention of the Western world. They are very different. The Indians used the coca to alleviate symptoms of hunger. The men, who weren't able to find much food for the festival that day, chose not to eat. Instead, the women and children will eat first, and then the men will share what is left. It is what the great Creator demands. He says, "Let your generations survive." Tasting like dry grass, it didn't give me as much energy as I thought it would. But by this point, I was already exhausted.
Okay. No más.
As we waited for the festival to begin, the men passed a communal bottle of cane alcohol called Cañasco. Having gained their trust, the chief explained to me that the dance was a protection ritual for a mother and her sick child. The tribe forms a circle around the woman, and then they chant and sing for many hours to drive out the spirit of sickness and call upon their ancestors for help. As I slept to the sounds of tribal drumming, I dreamt of my journey through the Amazon. In the morning, I would continue my trip down the river.
I didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night because the sounds of animals being consumed by each other here in the jungle was something that kept me awake most of the night. This is a soup, contains a meat called carne de monte. What he's actually done is he's taken a green banana plátano. It's very hard. It's not even ripe, actually. And he took the green banana and scraped the interior out with a spoon, bit by bit. It's almost kind of like grating it. He also added some salt, a little bit of cilantro, and of course, pieces of carne de monte. Carne de monte looks like a piece of beef. You would think it's a piece of beef. This is a large piece of it, all dried. It is a type of meat. Monte is the jungle.
Sí, jungle.
So this is considered meat of the jungle.
Carne de monte is a general term used to describe any animal they catch in the jungle. Today, it happens to be this pig.
Doesn't taste too bad. It actually tastes like smoked beef. It's not bad at all. It actually tastes quite good.
After thanking the Boer for their hospitality, we left the village and headed towards the jungle. We would have to hike most of the day to reach a tributary that could take us back toward Iquitos. The grandmother of the chief warned me of the animal that would take your arms. I'm not sure what she meant, but I knew it wasn't good.
I have a book called The Lost Crops of the Incas, and in that book they mention as guava being one of the fruits that Americans haven't taken to heart. And Segundo will climb up to the tree and give me a taste of guava. These seed pods break open. It's almost like a gigantic bean pod. The seed is covered with like a fibrous, white fibrous skin. It's kind of sweet. And that's what they eat. They don't eat actually the bean or the pod or anything, just the skin that surrounds the pod itself.
Okay.
All right? Here it comes. This is guava. Guava. We're going to break it open and I'll taste it for the first time and see whether or not we Americans are missing anything by not eating this particular fruit. It grows here in the tropics and will grow very well in America. It's actually quite good. It's sweet. The beans, no.
Good, sweet.
It's amazing. This is very, very juicy. The pod, wait a minute, see, can you see that? This they don't use. This they eat. It's almost like a, I can't describe it, it's almost like a melon.
Sí.
A melon. Come After a long walk in the jungle, and God, I need the water. This thing is packed with juices and water. Above me in the tree are nests from tropical orioles. You'll see them hanging. They almost look like little tiny sacks. They hang like that for protection against predators, away from the branches, away from snakes and everything else. These orioles make an amazing sound during the daytime when you're hiking here in the jungle.
As I began the final leg of the journey, I paid attention to every detail, wanting to forever hold in my mind the sight, sounds, and smells of the Amazon region. The warmth of its people and the simple grandeur of the Amazon had overwhelmed me, and I would miss them both.
Probably one of the most relaxing trips you can take as a tourist or anybody. You hear parrots, you hear birds. The sounds of nature are absolutely unending.
Stopping along the river for a brief rest, I explored around and came upon this simple dwelling. The occupants were gone, probably gathering food or fishing, but I was able to see their kitchen area.
Not far from the hut, just down the hill from the hut near the water's edge where they can clean their fish and other foods, is the kitchen. You can see the fire still smoldering here. There's some of the pots and pans, which are really, really basic, as you can see. And there's the bananas, which they use to fry them and cook them and boil them. They've cleared the trees here so that they could use some of these trees for firewood. They pay great attention to the local forest. They don't overuse the wood.
Continuing on, I was constantly reminded of the dangers and mystery of this place. I had become so much a part of the Amazon that these things seemed normal. What were once strange fruits and exotic ways of living had become familiar sights of everyday life. Finally, we had arrived at the outskirts of Iquitos. Hungry from the long trip, I took this opportunity to visit the market and witness for the last time the wonderful variety of foods available in the Peruvian Amazon.
Mirza is cooking parrillada de pollo. It's a typical dish here in Loretano, and it has lots of different ingredients. They just cook over the fire, and she brushes it with onions with a special sauce. We're going to see lots of different dishes like this throughout the Loretana area.
Vinagre, cominos, pimienta, entre pimentón, ají panca, nada más. Eso es todo.
The chicken will marinate in these ingredients before being placed on the grill. In addition to flavoring the meat, the aromatic smoke attracts customers to her stand. Continuing into the market, I found what I had been looking for: fish wrapped in bijao leaf. It would be a long time before I could have this again, and I filled my craving for the last time. Here, a vendor showed me how he prepared tacacho, a dish made from green bananas and pork belly. After frying the bananas to soften them, he mashes them in a tacacho dish. These are hand-carved from Amazonian redwood and used only for this recipe. Tacacho and the dish used to make it are only found in Loreto.
Se llama chicharrón de chancho.
After mashing the banana, you add fried pork belly and some of the oil. Acting as an emulsifier, it allows the banana to become a paste-like consistency. For the next week, my new wife Teresa and I packed our belongings and said our goodbyes. While visiting one of her friends, they offered us a simple meal as a gesture of their friendship.
I'm here at the house of a friend of mine, Felipe, and this is Cecilia. And today they're going to make a pollo a la parrilla, which is on the fire, and plátanos típica, which is green bananas roasted over the fire, and some potato salad.
Ya se prepara con limón y sal nada más.
Cecilia tells me that this simple dish is prepared with chicken, salt, and fresh lemon, nothing more. It will be grilled for approximately 15 minutes on an open fire. Although the meal is basic, it serves an important social function, reaffirming bonds of friendship that will last a lifetime.
Well, here is your typical plate. This is pollo parrilla on the fire. We've got plátano, the banana, which has been on the fire also. And yo necesito un poquito salsa. Sí, on la pollo. And salsa here is made with onions and a yellow ají that I showed you earlier. Ají amarillo, gracias. And lemon and salt. And that is salsa on my chicken. And I'm going to have my food now. I want to thank Cecilia and her amigas, y Teresa, y Felipe, for showing us a typical dish here in Loreto, Peru, in Iquitos.
It had been a long and fruitful journey to the Amazon, and one that I would never forget. I had learned a new way of life, a simpler one with a more relaxed pace. Exotic foods had greeted me almost daily, and the natural beauty of the area never ceased to amaze me. I had fulfilled my mission to archive ancient and disappearing recipes of this region. Already, I looked forward to the discovery of new dishes upon my return.